Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. My name is Kartik. I'm one of the co-founders of ETH Global, and I'm super excited to welcome all of you to Scaling Ethereum. All of you are watching this on ethglobal.tv. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is the platform we'll be using for the rest of this month to host all of our talks, workshops, and summits. And you're in for an amazing time learning about everything that's happening in the world of scaling Ethereum. All right, let's get started. This hackathon is brought to you by ETH Global. ETH Global is an organization with a very simple mission. Our goal is to onboard thousands of developers into the Web3 ecosystem. And we do this by running two things, hackathons and summits. And scaling Ethereum is no different. We have an amazing next few weeks planned where we're going to host 3 summits, 2 of which I can talk about. The first one is a Kickoff summit. You're going to learn about all the amazing things happening in the world of rollups right after we cover the hackathon logistics. Then on March 24th, the Friday, we're going to talk about what's happening in the world of MEV with the Flashbots summit and a super secret announcement coming in on March 27th, the Monday, a few days after the Flashbot summit, about something that this entire ecosystem has been eagerly waiting for. We're going to release what those announcements are and what the summit and those speakers are very soon. So stay tuned for the next few weeks to learn about all the impressive progress we've made as an industry in the last couple of years. All of this will be on ethglobal.tv. And today we have a summit that's going to cover all the things that's going to set the theme for what everybody's doing to scale Ethereum. But the next 30 minutes are about the hackathon. We have so much going on for this event, and I want to make sure we take the time to talk about everything that we're going to do to structure the next few weeks for you as hackers, and for those of you who are joining us for the first time, telling you how everything works. And for those of you who are coming back, welcome back, and stay tuned for a few changes we've made to our previous formats. So this is already an impressive and massive event. We have over 1,200 people from 89 different countries participating in working on projects related to scaling Ethereum and building on L2s. And they are from 24 time zones. We finally managed to cover all time zones. And I can't wait to meet all of you here and see what everybody's excited about. I also put everybody on a map to see where everybody was coming from. And it just continues to blow us away because we have representation from 6 continents and so many cities around the world. The last time we counted this a few days ago, that number was closer to 500 unique cities. So that's awesome to see, and welcome everybody. And thank you for staying up or staying late, early, everything from all these time zones. We really appreciate this. Not only just that, we have 107 mentors who are going to be here helping you over the next 3 weeks to make sure that your project comes to life. And 19 amazing partners that are giving out help, guidance, prizes, and mentorship to make sure that you succeed in building on top of Ethereum and Layer 2s. And they're also going to be giving out over $200,000 worth of prizes. So there's a lot of prizes that we can do and we will be doing and talking about. So not only can you learn everything that's happening in this world, you also get to win some amazing amount of prizes for building interesting and useful things. I want to give a quick shout out to some of our amazing partners with Optimism, Polygon, Scroll, Gnosis Chain, Ethereum Foundation, Upward Virtual Machine, Hyperlane, ApeCoin, Fuel, UMA, Connects, Polybase, PSC, The Graph, ItMax, zk Era, Mantle, Tyco, and Push Protocol. All these companies and our partners are here with us for this entire month, helping out, talking to all of you, telling you about how you can simplify your life by using a lot of these SDKs and not reinventing the wheel, and also giving out a lot of prizes. But enough of that, let's talk about some of the stuff that you all need to know, specifically about the hackathon logistics. The most common question we've gotten is, what can I build? There's a lot of you who are joining us for the first time. There's a lot of you who are seasoned engineers in big companies that are trying to understand what's possible in crypto. And some of the themes that we think are going to be very helpful for you, and also what others have said they're going to do, is on this slide. People are very excited to play with different DeFi primitives, and DAOs and NFTs on different L2s. So you get to take advantage of a lot of the scalability benefits and low gas costs for making those type of transactions. And you can do a lot more interesting stuff, or a lot more stuff that can be corrected on chain if something requires higher transaction amounts, not from a dollar standpoint, but just from the number of edits or commits needed to get to any outcome. We have a lot of support for building on ZK rollups. There's a lot of things you can do in terms of understanding how we can add anywhere from privacy to some more guarantees to just hiding some information that should be not needed or must be publicly available for somebody to act on. And you have a lot of support for doing this for anywhere from account abstraction to DeFi to NFTs to simply making just better tooling for the next wave of people to do all these things more efficiently and faster. Of course, the reason why we're doing this event for the second time is because we feel like the Layer 2 ecosystem is still lacking really, really good developer tools. And we want to really get thousands of more people to build on top of these scaling solutions. And even if you can't find an app, or you realize that something was really hard as you were doing your app, you get to take some time and make a tool that makes it easier for yourself and somebody else, and let them make applications on top of these solutions better, faster, and more quickly. And of course, it's okay to not work on an app. There's so much to do here in this entire ecosystem that you can also take the time to build some guides or documentation, or simply clarify how somebody can use it and help educate everybody else on how they can be in this ecosystem faster, quicker, or just really get into some of the nuances that everybody needs to know to build on top of any of these solutions. If you are one of the teams who's working on making easy to understand how to do something or how something works, you also have the option to submit those guides to ETH Global Guides. We'll be more than happy to publish one of these guides here. And if you do end up writing something that can help thousands of people, we'd love to make that an official guide on ethglobal.com/guides. All right. Now let's talk about the next 3 weeks and how all the logistics is set up for everything. I'm going to cover what you can do to find a team member, how you can get any help, all the prizes, of course. We're going to talk about all of our summits, and I'm going to talk about the most important thing, which is how judging and project submission is set up. So the most important thing is communication. So let's dive in. Everything is going to be on Discord. That means if you are a confirmed hacker, you would have seen a connect Discord button on your hacker dashboard on ethglobal.com. And you should be able to see a scaling Ethereum section appear on your Discord sidebar. That means that only people who are participating at the hackathon are going to be able to see those channels. So really make sure that you see that and you are actively connected to Discord, because that's where all the announcements, talks, prizes, help, all that will be managed there, including talking to all of our mentors. And these are private channels, which means that if you're not part of the hackathon, you will not be able to get access to them. And it helps us understand how do we make sure we effectively communicate things precisely to everybody who should hear about those announcements. And that's also where all of our partner channels are, which means if you're working on any of the protocols out there, whether it's on an optimistic rollup or a ZK rollup or some dev tool or some dApp or any push notification service, you can message anybody on that team through those channels. So please make sure you're connected to Slack, and also make sure that your team members are there, because you also get to talk to each other there. And that's where you can just make sure you can ping anybody, including the global team and our partners and our mentors and all the other hackers too. On top of that, we'll also be sending out calendar invites for all talks and workshops. You would have seen a calendar invite today for this very session. There's a handful of other talks and workshops happening. Some of them already happened yesterday. We have a lot more next week. All that is going to be notified to you on your calendar, so it normalizes itself for the different time zones everybody's in. And as a note, all of this is meant to be very asynchronous, which means that we try our best to do things multiple times over the course of the hackathon and repeat this so we can optimize for multiple time zone overlaps. But even if you have other obligations, whether it's school or work or something else, everything is going to be recorded. So even if you miss something, it'll be available on youtube.com/ethglobal immediately after it ends. and we make sure that anybody can catch up and watch things at their own pace or their own speed limit and really understand what's going on and not miss out on anything. And to see what's happening, everything is going to be on our website. You can just head over to ethglobal.com/scaling. There you'll see the full schedule. If anything changes, you'll see that reflected there. What's on the website is going to be the source of truth. So we make sure that everything, whether it's your calendar invites, whether it's the top titles, whether it's a 5-minute delay, all that is reflected properly on our hackathon website. So the most other common question we've gotten is, how does this hackathon work? For those of you joining us for the first time, it is fairly straightforward. The hackathon officially begins now, and you can start working on your projects. You can work with them with a team, and you can have a team of up to 5 members, and you have the next 2.5 weeks to hack. That means that whole thing is about 3 weeks long as an event. That includes some of the extra time we have for judging and doing the closing ceremonies and going through all the prize winners. But you have the next little while to talk about all these things and work on the projects. So I'm going to spend a bit more time here on all the things that matter here for project submission and other things that you need to know. So the rules and criteria is the most important thing. Everything that you're doing must start today and must be done from scratch, which means that you cannot work on a pre-existing project. You cannot add features to something you've done, and you also cannot just deploy something you've done in the past to some layer 2 and call that a valid submission. On top of that, only people who have successfully RSVP'd are eligible to win prizes, which means that if you're working on a team of 5 and 3 of the people are listed as your team members at the point of submission and the other 2 were accepted but didn't RSVP properly or didn't join your team, if you win a prize in this situation, only those 3 people will receive the prizes, not all 5. So please, please, please make sure that all of your team members are RSVP'd and listed and confirmed on your hacker dashboard. And also, there's going to be a lot of edge cases, and we totally understand that. So if you have a situation where you want to clarify something, you can just message us on Discord or email or direct message or Twitter, wherever it is. We'll be able to understand what your unique situation is and help clarify and address any issues. So don't hesitate to ping us, and if you have anything that comes up, you can let us know, and we'll be able to get to it immediately. Next, and the most important piece, is judging. So here is something that we're changing for those of you who joined us in the past. Submissions are due on Sunday, March 26th at noon Eastern Time. Everything we're going to do is default to Eastern Time, which is Eastern Time, New York. And you have until March 26th to work on your projects. After that, we'll kind of talk about how judging works. But what it means on that Sunday is you will have to create a 4-minute demo video to submit what you've worked on over the past few weeks. This 4-minute is what's going to be a snapshot of what you've done and what everybody will look at to review your submission for any prizes or any comments. This video is required. This video is also very strict on time, so you cannot go over. The dashboard will automatically prevent you from submitting something that's longer than 4 minutes. And we also review all these videos individually to make sure that everything is as part of the rules. So if you speed it up, that also gets you disqualified. If you try to make it too long, you'll just be stuck on being able to submit your project. And if it's too short, that also helps you not convey what you built on properly. So please make sure that it's appropriately and as close to 4 minutes as possible to really enlighten everybody on what you worked on for the past few weeks. And please, 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 please don't prepare this last minute. We see everybody realize that they need more time to make it better, to make the demos work really well, to sometimes focus on conveying the right messaging. All that takes time. We recommend you block at least 2 hours to do this. Even though it's 4 minutes, it will take you a few revisions to get things right, but make sure that everything's under the time limit. And all these details are going to be on your dashboard. Right now, you're only going to be able to see how to create a project, but next week onwards, you'll be able to see all the specific things that you need to do to submit your project and how the video works, and some previous good videos that we recommend using as a reference for what a great submission looks like. All those things are going to be made visible to you on your Hacker dashboard very soon. Now let's talk about what's changing for judging and how everything is going to be set up after you submit your project. We have two tracks of judging. The first one is main judging, which helps you become a finalist for this hackathon. And the other one is a partner prize judging, which is only if you are interested in submitting for a prize, but not anything else. For those of you who've been part of our events before, the format's the same, but we're adding an additional step moving forward. So I'm going to talk about what the main judging looks like and how it's going to work. It's going to be set up in 2 rounds. And this is how the first round looks like. When you submit your project on Sunday, the next day is when we're going to do round 1 of judging, which means that instead of joining a live call, which is how things were done before, there will be a asynchronous round with our judges who will review your video submissions. And we'll also be checking anywhere from your Git history to the quality of what you submitted to the live demo links that you published to everything around your submission and qualifying you for the next round for the live demos that you are used to. This means that not every project will move on, even if you wanted to be part of the finalist track. And within 24 hours of submission, our goal is to notify the teams that are moving on to the next round to default to a live demo to our judges, where they get to have a conversation and talk about what they built. So as our judges look at all the submissions on that Monday, we'll be notifying the teams that made it to the next round. And that judging happens on Tuesday for round 2. The way round 2 is set up is fairly straightforward. All those teams will be sent a Zoom link. You will then be able to go on that call and simply demo what you built. You will still get 4 minutes, and we default to playing the video that you submitted to our judges. It'll be a different set of judges as well. And in addition to the demo, you'll also then get a few minutes for a Q&A. After that is what we'll have to determine who our finalists are. And that's what sets up for the closing ceremonies, where we're going to demo some of our top teams to share what they built and what they were excited about as some of these teams. So the Zoom call will be synchronous, and this will happen from 12 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And this will allow all of us to be on the call synchronously and chat about everything that you're excited about, everything you built, or any questions our judges have about your submission. So that's the net difference. We'll notify this again to everybody over email, and all this information will also be available on your Hacker dashboard as soon as submission opens in about 10 days. And then for those of you who are not interested in the finalist track and want to just go for partner prizes, that remains the same as before, which is the partners will look at your 4-minute video and your source code and your live demos and the project description to determine what is the best team that represents the values that they're trying to accomplish for that prize. They will look at this at their own pace asynchronously and contact you on Discord or email if they have any questions. So this means that as long as you specify during your submission process that you are trying to go for X prize, the partners will be notified that you are one of the teams and this is your submission, and they'll be able to look at this, and over the same window before the closing ceremony, they'll be able to tell all of us who the winners are for their projects. This also means that if you forget to notify in your submission process that you wanted to go for X or some specific prize, then we have no way of knowing that this is what you wanted. So please make sure that you select the actual prize you are trying to qualify for. Otherwise, we won't be notified, the partners won't be notified. And if you say, how come I didn't get this prize, or how come someone else was chosen over me, it means that nobody had the information that you wanted to be part of that prize. So you'll get to do all of that through your dashboard, and all that will be available to you very soon. But in summary, you have to make sure that you take the time and make the video good. That is the best advice we can give you, which is that 4 minutes represents 3 weeks of work. And making sure you get the time to highlight why you're doing this thing, who you are, why it matters, and why you're excited about it is going to be very critical. That video is what determines you receiving a prize, you going to round 2 of judging, and also being a finalist for this global event. So make sure you take the time and don't ignore the work you need to do to make your submission look amazing. And of course, I don't want this to be intimidating to all of you. The biggest question is, well, what if I'm new to all of this? Well, not to worry. This event is designed for a lot of beginners, and our goal is to make sure that we do everything we can to make it really easy for everybody to understand what's going on and really take the time to learn and use the next few weeks instead of just a hackathon weekend to make this useful and knowledgeable and a good learning experience for them. So there's a lot of content for beginners and experts. No matter what your skill set is, you have things to catch up on here, and you can watch those talks. You can watch historical talks on our YouTube or learn about any protocol that's out there in the space and get a guided tutorial or even talk to the people who built it directly. So a lot of these talks and workshops are available. If you want to just understand what's happening thematically, that's where the summits come in. We're going to start off with our first summit in 20 minutes. And our goal is to tell you at a high level all these things that you're excited about, whether it's how optimistic billows work, how zeros work, or if you saw the announcement about Coinbase's new OP chain base, all that will be told to you on why these things are excited very soon. And there's a massive set of guides and resources available to you in your info center. It shows up now on your nav bar on the hackathon website. You will see that link on your calendar invites too. You can see everything from the rules, the criteria, to submission guidelines, to a list of previous submissions that we think are really well presented. All that stuff is available to you to read up on immediately. And you can just go there by click on the info center link. And of course, if you have any questions, this is a live stream. I can see all the questions on the global.tv chat, so just ask away to your questions, and we'll be able to answer them. One common question we've already gotten is, do I have to decide between the main judging track or the partner prize track? The answer is yes on just the main judging track, which means that if you pick the main judging track, you are still qualifying for the partner prizes. It's just that if you only pick the partner prize track, that means that you cannot come back and qualify for any of the main judging finalist prize tracks. So no matter what you choose, you are still going to be looked at for all the partner prizes, and make sure we make that way more obvious as well. But you are not going to have to make a decision between do I want a partner prize or not. All the cases you qualify for that. And the last thing is everything is on our YouTube. So of course, there's a lot of you who are not sure what you want to build yet, or you're not confident in what you have will be accomplishable in the next few weeks, or maybe you need help on specific skill sets. We got you covered. All that stuff is also part of the plan, which is the reason why these events are multi-weeks, is because you really get to learn and then try it out and see how to do these things. So there's a Find a Team channel on your Discord. There you can see a couple hundred people who are also in a similar position as you, where they're looking for somebody with specific skill sets or just want to pair up with somebody. And you get to meet new people from across the world. You get to meet really, really smart people who are excited about what's happening in Web3 and work together on a project over the next few weeks and really accomplish something amazing. And of course, because there are so many of you from literally all time zones, close to 500 cities around the world, we want to know who you are, why you're excited about this thing, and what you really are passionate about. So go to the Scaling 2023 chat channel and talk to all of us. Say hi to ETH Gold members, say hi to everybody else participating, and we'd love to understand how you got into this space. And of course, it's also possible to hack solo. You don't need to have a team. It's just easier if you have somebody also working with you, because you then don't have to do everything yourself. So if you want to do something on your own, that is also totally fine. You can submit something individually, but if you are trying to work with somebody and reduce the workload or just get complementary skill sets involved, you get to do that with a team. And there's also now a tool on your dashboard to help find team members. This is a double opt-in tool only, which means that on your dashboard, if you set that you need help or you're looking for a team member, then the second you check this off, you'll be available on this tool, and other members can find you based on the things that you can do for a team, whether it's front-end development, design, back-end development, Solidity development, all that stuff. You can specify and find other potential team members who have those skills or the skills that you have that you like to contribute to another team. Now let's talk about check-ins. This is going to be very important. Our goal is to make sure that you can understand what's happening in this space, especially from so much information that exists out on the internet. And to help simplify that process and make the best use of your next few weeks, we implement something called a check-in. A check-in is a simple form, for lack of a better analogy, a quick survey or a stand-up update that happens on a dashboard, and you just get to tell us how things are going. If you finally have an idea that you're excited about, if you're stuck on something, if you try to get an answer to something about an SDK and you didn't hear back, or you couldn't get the right person to answer your technical question, or you're stuck on this bug and it's just really stopping you from moving forward, all these things is what we use the check-ins for. And from that, we get to route and triage you to the best person who will be able to help, or just simply help you ourselves. We're excited about building on Ethereum. We're excited about ZK technologies. We're excited about optimistic rollups, and we want to get people to build really, really cool things. And these check-ins help us get you to where you want. Also, the check-ins are a big piece for getting to the submission piece. So you do have to fill out these check-ins just so we know how things are going, what we can do better as ETH Global. All this will happen via your dashboard. It's a really quick form. It should take you no more than 10 minutes, and anybody on your team can fill this out next week and the two after. The way we kind of think about this thing is that as you're thinking about your projects, you should break down the work into these equally adjusted timelines. You should take the first few days of next week to really brainstorm what could be possible, understand some of the stuff that is possible or not possible with different technologies, watch a handful of workshops and talks, and talk to a lot of our mentors and see, hey, I'm trying to do X. Does this make sense? Or is there a better way to do this thing? Or is it more efficiently doing something? And as you kind of gather all of that interest, use the week after to really build something that you want to submit and get people to test it out, get people to give you feedback. And then as you learn through that iteration, finalize everything that you need to do, whether it's really make a nice design, make it really easy and friendly, work on the copy, or anything that you want to do here. You get to do that at the last week just before submissions on March 26th. And to make the best use of all of this, we also are going to be doing a feedback session every week, which means that as you are thinking about brainstorming your idea, or you want to see what people think, or what some of our partners think, or what some of these founders who are building these technologies they're using think, you get to join these two sessions. The first one is next week from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern. The next one is the week after from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. And you can just come on a call and really just get direct feedback. It just behaves like a college office hours. You get to see what people think about this, or if you're stuck, or if you really wanted direct help on a call, and anybody can help you there as our mentors or our partners to tell you what you can do to get unblocked. And I also want to cover a few seconds on our code of conduct. Even though this is an online event, we have a code of conduct that everybody must obey. And the event rules and the code of conduct is on ethglobal.com/rules. You can read everything in a lot more detail, but the gist of it is that please be respectful to everybody in this community, and harassment and abuse will not be tolerated on any form. And specifically about the event rules, anything that you build here is going to be solely owned by you and your team, which means that neither us as ETH Global nor our partners or anybody else owns the IP for what comes out of this. It's solely you and your team members that are the owners of everything that you built. And if you need any help, or if you think that what you're doing for your project might be violating some of the rules, or you may get disqualified for not doing something, you can just reach out to us and we'll be happy to clarify anything and let you know if something is within the guidelines of this hackathon. And all that information, again, is on the website, including everything I'm going to say after, which is the prize stuff, all the talks, all that is there. And you can just go to ethglobal.com/scaling. All right, so before we get to our summit, let's talk about all the stuff that you can actually win and all the prizes that everybody's giving out. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes on the prizes, and then we're going to kick off with our summit. So let's get right to it. The first one is from Optimism. What we asked the Optimism team and Maddie to share us what Optimism is doing, what they're excited about, and what they think you should be excited about, and then also the prize they're giving out. So I'm going to invite Addie here on stage and tell you more about the prizes.
Hi. My name's Maddie. I'm the head of developer relations at OP Labs, and we are scaling Ethereum by building Optimism. We're part of the Optimism Collective, and together we are building a lightning-fast, scalable Ethereum equivalent layer 2 called Optimism Mainnet. This is all built on the OP stack, which is our open source dev stack that powers all the interconnected layer 2s that will form the superchain. The other thing you need to know about Optimism is that by being part of the collective, by growing the ecosystem, you qualify for retroactive public goods funding, which means you can earn more funding in the future for the impact you have on the ecosystem. So we have 3 hacks for you today. The first one, hack the OP stack. Show us what you would do with your own L2. Take the latest release on Gurley, do something cool with it. Past examples include a Game Boy emulator that ran in the execution environment, or a EVM rollup that used Bitcoin as a data layer. And so the top 3 teams will win 5K, 3K, and 2K respectively. Number 2, identity. If you're building identity or reputation, we want to hear from you. Anything involving communities or badges or DAOs, deploy it on Optimism Mainnet and incorporate our attestation service. Look for ways that you can add them to your project. 3 teams will win $2,000 each. And lastly, the pool prize. Any dApp, any tool, bring it to Optimism. It's an EVM equivalent, which means it uses the same tools and flows that you're already used to. It's very easy to ship and start tapping into the Optimism community. If you're looking for resources to get started, we have a lot of them. Head to the prizes page. I recommend starting with the starter kit that we just released. It has support for WAGMI, Foundry, Rainbow Kit, and more. If you're looking for ideas, we have an ideas list. We collect hard, interesting, or just downright unhinged ideas, and we publish them for builders. So if you're looking for inspo, head to this URL. And that's it. I'll be in the Discord. Ping Scaff if you have any questions, and good luck and have fun.
Awesome. So you got a quick overview of what all the Optimism prizes are. We can talk about a lot more on how holdups work, but I'll just quickly summarize, which is you get to win a lot of prize for hacking on the OP stack. And there's a big emphasis around identity and reputation. So interesting that attestation ideas are going to get $2,000 each and up to 3 of those. So you get to see all of that very soon, but let's go on to some of our other prizes. Oh, and by the way, there's also a pool prize, which means that any interesting project that uses Optimism or deploys on mainnet in a meaningful way is eligible to win $400 each. So 10 teams will qualify for that, and they'll be able to receive $4,000 split 10 ways, up to 10 ways. So it could be more. Next up is Polygon. And let's go right into hearing what Steph has to say about building on Polygon.
Hey hackers, I'm Steph Orpilia from Polygon Labs, and I'm here to tell you about the $20,000 in prizes we're giving away to all of the builders who are scaling Ethereum during this virtual hackathon. The first prize is $5,000 for the best Web3 developer or community tool. We want you to scale Ethereum by creating and documenting either a tool, a dashboard, a dev library, a transaction explorer, a DAO coordination tool, or a general Web3 public good that will supercharge development and coordination for the Web3 community and beyond. Our second $5,000 prize is for the best dApp deployed on Polygon ZK EVM. Get ready for our Polygon ZK EVM mainnet by deploying your Scaling Ethereum Hackathon project to our Polygon ZK EVM testnet. We've got lots of docs and tutorials to help you start building either with Hardhat or Remix. And we even have a ZK EVM full stack development tutorial that you can use to start building your dApps. Next prize is $5,000 for the best UX on a project using the dApp Store Kit. This is a community-driven toolkit that you can use to deploy successful EVM-compatible dApp stores using the decentralized dApp Store Kit framework. We want you to build an intuitive, beautiful, user-centric dApp using the kit and explain all of your different UX optimizations and choices within your README. Check out those dApp Store docs to start building. Last but not least, we have $5,000 in prizes for the best use of Polygon ID. Build a full-stack dApp that uses Polygon ID's decentralized identity solution to give your users privacy by default so that they can verify their access rights to use your dApp without giving up any of your personal data. Check out our Polygon ID wiki and our builder tutorials to learn how to set up your own issuer node and verifier service. those are our prizes. Super stoked to see what you build. If you have any questions at all, please ask us in the Discord. See you soon.
Awesome. So I'll also summarize some of these parts so you can visually see as well. So the best Web3 developer community tool will receive $5,000 from Polygon. The best app deployed on the Polygon ZK EVM will receive $5,000. The best UX on a project using the App Store kit from Polygon will also receive $5,000. And the best use of Polygon ID will be receiving $5,000. So there's $20,000 in prizes for a lot of themes that you're going to see as recurring in this world of scaling Ethereum. And you get to check out all the specifics here on the scaling website. Next up is Scroll, and then I have Aishin to talk about what you can get from Scroll.
Hello everyone, we are Scroll. We are very excited to partner with East Global and to be part of the Scaling Ethereum Hackathon event. We all know that Ethereum is great and has a humongous community and developers on top of the Ethereum network. It is known to being decentralized by having hundreds of thousands of geo-distributed validators and being secure and censorship resistant. However, due to the blockchain trilemma, Ethereum cannot achieve the scalability as they prioritize the first two properties. So how to solve the scalability problems on the Ethereum? More than 2 years ago, Vitalik posted this blog post about the ROP-centric roadmap. So they plan to scale the Ethereum through the ROPs that can process more transactions on the layer 2 and have efficient settlement or finalization on top of the Ethereum layer 1. So Scroll is committed to build an EVM bytecode equivalent of ZK EVM and ZK ROP layer 2 to scale the Ethereum. While committed to scaling the Ethereum, we abide by the following three principles. First, we aim to build an EVM equivalent of ZK ROP that can achieve the best-in-class user and developer experience. Second, we keep the security-first mindset when building the layer 2, where the zero-knowledge protocols can explicitly prove the correctness of all execution on the layer 2, and we also actively having external and internal auditing on our code base. And third, we believe that decentralization also matters in the layer 2 context. So Scroll is committed to decentralize across all different layers, including a decentralized prover and a sequencer network. For user and developers, because of the EVM equivalence, using the Scroll is pretty much the same as using the Ethereum. Last, let me introduce the Scroll Hackathon and Bounty program in this event. We have total 3 different tracks. First, we just ask you to deploy your smart contract on top of the Scroll testnet. The deployment process will be just like the Ethereum, and you only need to change the RPC endpoint. And second, we love zero knowledge. So show us your best application building new use cases that leverages the power of zero knowledge proofs. And third, we want to see dApps taking advantage of the cheap gas fees and fast block times on the layer 2s. For more information, you can check out the website, and I hope you enjoy hacking on top of the Scroll. Thank you.
Awesome. So to repeat some of the prices from Scroll, if you deploy your smart contract on Scroll, there's a $10,000 pool price, which means that any meaningful deployment on Scroll will be splitting this $10,000 equally, and you get to really deploy on a ZK VM and really test out what is and isn't possible or what is working as advertised. It should be everything. In addition, there's a category for the applied ZK improvements and empowerment. So 2 teams will get $2,500 as the winners for this, and you can see the specifics on the details on the price page. And there's a cheap and fast block utilizer award category track, and you get to also understand how you can qualify by winning on some of those specific key points that matter to be really cheap and fast on Scroll. So next I want to get to Gnosis Chain. So Gnosis Chain is also giving out a lot of prizes. So the most innovative dApps on Gnosis Chain are qualified to win effectively $20,000. So the best prize gets $8,000. The second place will get $6,000, and there are going to be 2 runner-ups who are going to be receiving $3,000 each for deploying an interesting application on Gnosis Chain. Next up is Filecoin Virtual Machine, or FVM. This lets you really add programmability to your data without having to leave the Solidity world that you're already excited about and understand. So if you are integrating with the Filecoin Virtual Machine, you get to win prizes for all these categories. So the best application for DataDAO is qualified to receive $2,000. The most interesting application that works on storage markets is also qualified to receive $2,000. The most interesting tooling on the FVM ecosystem is qualified to receive $2,000 as the best project. There's so many primitives and infrastructure missing for Filecoin Virtual Machine as they ready their mainnet next week. You get to be one of the best projects, making that easier for others to build on top. And there's also a wildcard category, which means that any other project that doesn't fit all these things, but is still super interesting and impressive, will receive $2,000. Next up is Hyperlane. Hyperlane is a permissionless interoperability layer. So as you want to think about modular security between different chains, you get to use Hyperlane. So the best interoperable solution is going to receive $4,000. The best use of Hyperlane's warp routes SDK will receive $2,000 as a prize, and any infrastructure project that is making the best use of Hyperlane will receive $2,000 in terms of helping you scale things on Ethereum. Next up is ApeCoin. ApeCoin Foundation and ApeCoin DAO is giving out prizes for the best integration of a project into the ApeCoin ecosystem. This is the Bored Apes ecosystem, if in case you were not familiar from the DAO side. And there's also a category for the best contribution to the system. So whether that's on account abstraction or anything that you're doing to scale Ethereum, you get to do those tracks and receive effectively close to $10,000 each, $10,000 in total for working on the ApeCoin ecosystem. So if you're excited about NFTs and you want them to be more accessible and fast for everybody in the consumer world out there, you have the opportunity to do so here. Next up is Fuel. Fuel is the fastest execution layer for a modular blockchain. So if you are building a smart contract that's written in Sway language, you get to win a $1,000 prize, and a runner-up will receive $500. Then if you are building a full stack tap on top of Fuel and deploying it on the Fuel layer 2, you get to qualify for $3,000 a prize for the best use. And if you are using predicates on the Fuel network, 2 teams will receive $2,000 for the first place and $500 for the runner-up category. Next up is Connext. Connext also lets you communicate cross-chain and transfer assets between 2 different chains. So the best cross-chain application will receive up to $3,000 from Connext. And if you end up taking any existing protocol cross-chain, which means you end up bridging something that already is on one of those chains using Connext and help it be available on a different chain, you get to win $1,000. It's a very simple bridge contracts. And if you are using the XCall primitives SDK, there's a pool prize, which means that anybody who deploys and sends any data with XCall, you get to split $1,000 amongst yourselves. Next up is Polybase. Polybase is a Web3 equivalent of Firebase. So you get to use Postgres or any sort of relational database, or it's a key value store quite easily and make your applications real time and quick to use. So the best use of Polybase will get $1,500 and the runner-up will get $1,000. And there's also a massive pool price, which means that all interesting projects that make a meaningful integration and use of the Polybase SDK with databases will be splitting $2,500 each. Then we have the Graph. Graph is an indexing protocol. If you want to query any of your blockchain data, you get to create a subgraph or tap into an existing subgraph and request that on-chain data as really nice JSON through GraphQL. So the best new subgraph creation will receive $2,000 and $1,000 for the runner-up. And the best use of existing subgraphs will receive $1,400 for the first place and $600 for the runner-up spot. Then we have IntMax. IntMax is a layer 2 that helps you make really quick and fast consumer apps. The best use of IntMax and deployment on that protocol will receive $2,500 and 2 projects will receive this prize. So you get a chance to be one of the first amazing applications on IntMax. Next up is zk-SYNC's Era. This is a layer 2 ZK EVM designed to scale blockchains. And they are giving out a prize for the best account abstractions on top of a ZK EVM. You can win $2,000 for that. And 3 teams will get the best developer tooling related prizes for $1,000 each. So if you get to improve, how do we make it easier to play more on Era, you get to win $1,000. Then we have Mantle. Mantle is another layer 2 for building modular, well, it's leveraging modular architecture for building and scaling Ethereum and smart contracts. And best use of Mantle will receive $5,000 in total, so $2,500 for the first place, $3,900 for second place, and $1,000 in third place in the BIT tokens. Then we have Tyco Network, and they are building a ZK EVM, which is of type 1. So the best dApps on Tyco will receive $1,500 for the first place and $1,000 for the second place. they are also interested in making infrastructure improvements to working with the Tycho protocol. And the first place winner will get $1,000. Second place will get $500. There's also a lot of opportunity to make ZK improvements and just interesting applications of ZK. Specific technologies or just SDK functions, and you get to win $500 for that prize. And if you are one of the team members who wants to understand how do we improve the economics of that network, you can also receive $500 prize for going a bit more into research instead of coding something on ZKVM. And we have push protocol. The push protocol is a communication protocol for Web3. So if you want to ping somebody or might have push notifications that are native to browsers and applications and react on top of on-chain events, you get to use push protocol for all these things and also to chat with people. So the most innovative use case of push across different chains will receive $1,000. This is all about scaling. If you are using the push chat SDK, the best and most interesting use case will get $750. And if you are making something interesting from a UX side of things for on top of the push SDKs, you will get $750 as well. And there's a pool prize of $2,500, which means that all projects that make a meaningful use of push protocol will split $2,500 each. Those are all of our amazing prizes. I know you may have a lot of questions. We'll be able to answer a lot of them here on the chat. If we can't get to them, we'll get to them on Discord. But all that information is available to you on ethglobal.com/scaling, including very specific information about each of the prizes, on what qualifies, what doesn't, how you can watch a workshop of somebody telling you how to use them, to the documentation links, to previous examples that they see, to boilerplates. All that stuff is on the website. So with that, I want to stop talking and wrap up with logistics and really go into our summit. So as you get started with your projects, please remember to pace yourself. We really don't want this to be exhausting for you. This event is meant to be intentionally multi-week, so you get to really ramp up your understanding and then tackle something instead of going all in and sacrificing your sleep or health or anything else to really build something that you are excited about that could potentially be the next few years of your life. And we really want you to have fun. So please make sure you are thinking about all these things in a calculated manner and in an easy way so that you get to learn more and understand how you can be more involved in this ecosystem. And remember, all of this thing is about experimentation and learning, which means that it is totally okay if you don't get to finish what you started. Our goal is to help you get there. And if something doesn't work out, that is totally okay. You can absolutely demo something that was partially done and continue working on it after this event ends. And our goal is to help you get to that finish line in however possible way we can. So keep all that in mind and happy hacking. You can find us now on Discord by heading over to ethglobal.com/Discord or your dashboard, and we'll see all of us, all 1,200 plus of us on the Scaling Ethereum channels. All right, that was all the logistics, which went a few minutes over, but I am super excited to talk about what we have now planned for our Insurer Scaling Summit. So let's go right into it. I want to talk about our Kickoff Summit, which is we're going to highlight all the interesting themes and things that are happening in the world of scaling Ethereum. So today's schedule is as follows. We're going to have Kevin talk about how rollups actually work and how potentially ZK rollups may not be real. We'll see about that. Then we're going to have Jesse talk about Base. And as you may have heard, Base is the new OP stack chain from Coinbase. We're going to talk about why Coinbase is excited to do this and how they want to bring on the next billion users into Ethereum. Then we're going to have Portal Lanza talk about the IP 4844 in 44 minutes or less. 4844 is a really interesting standard that simplifies so many things to help make these things really consumer friendly. Then Aishan is going to talk about how to think about ZK rollups and the ZK EVM. This is obviously a really interesting topic because everybody is trying to push this into compatibility and making it easy for others to integrate to. So we're going to learn a bit more specifics about all those things. And lastly, John from Hyperlane is going to talk about how to properly think about the multi-chain feature and how you can do interesting things and build cool applications that have context from different chains.